See, this is why I couldn't make videos before, because every time I end up recording in this hot, dank environment, my recording just goes away! After my failed attempt at recording, I decided to record again. It's insufferable. 50 minutes of recording. Anywho, hello everyone, Mr. Blubberjack here today. Today, I am recording on October 10th, 2020. Like usual, we go through my Instagram, my health, my culture, and for the sake of the second video, a treasure in life. Personally, what I feel like is a treasure in life within each video. But don't be afraid to comment down below on what you believe is a treasure in life. If I sound energetic, it's because all my dialogue got deleted! Anyways, my Instagram. Now, besides the entertainment of the idea that I'm just bragging about it for no particular reason, my stories are ongoing with no end in sight. In fact, I'm constantly creating this stuff as I'm going. So yes, even I, the creator of the comic, the god of this world, does not know how everything will end. I'm planning for Fruits of Labor to be a total of 10 chapters. And the other comics, they can do whatever they want. The reason why I drive focus to these comics is because since I have no idea how they'll end, and I'm basically as ignorant as you are going into reading these things, depending if you ever do, I want to review them, talk about my missteps, my mistakes, and where I possibly think that the story could be going in the future. And don't worry, I'm not going to sugarcoat it or keep any information from you about what happens. Or at least what I believe to happen. Or what I feel should happen in the story. Because as I write it, I'm constantly thinking of cool and flashy ways for it to end, or for another page to come across as amazing, and it'll even be something very specific to the point where I end up drawing an actual page of it. But in the end, I end up drawing something that I totally didn't even think about. And I literally have no control over what the page is actually going to offer. This is where creativity goes wild. Now, as we move on to my health, I'll talk about my progress and how I was able to help myself feel better. Now, what's the first step to these journeys? You talk to yourself. And as weird as that may sound, for me, I feel like this is the root of meditation and why people do it. In fact, I'm probably in a constant state of meditating, because my brain will constantly be juggling around traumatic or nihilistic thoughts. Because if you pretend that they don't exist, they could possibly affect the real world around you. Now that's only a piece of the pie. I also started talking to a lot of people around me as well. Of course, though, you want to talk to the right people, not the toxic ones. No. You save toxic people for whenever you're able to handle them. I watched lots of YouTube. That was fun. But of course, I made sure to actually transition the teachings into my actions. And listen, I'm not saying that this is the right way. I'm just letting you know how I was able to take care of myself. It's kind of like YouTube. Nobody asks if they're watching YouTube the right way. Because if they are, they're not used to being free. What's very huge about these parts is that I have to be in complete honesty with myself. There is no hiding anything from myself, because if I truly want to get over all of my fears, then it's going to require every harsh truth that I have to say about myself, and including the things that I do right. Because every mistake or failure that I've made, I can never throw anyone under the bus for the mistakes that I've caused and the failures that I've committed. It's not particularly because it was or wasn't my fault, but beyond anything, if I wanted to act as a guardian in the place of the guardians that failed me, I would want to be 100% honest with myself. Because I had a nihilistic thought that there was nobody that was all good and all powerful. So why even pray for a person like that to exist? But when I realized that I could become that very thing that I wished for, it made the unreal real. Well, during this time, you guys know that I was absolutely livid with how things were going, and any kind of passions that I had, I can just incorporate into my art. In fact, it was precisely because I was drawing on the whiteboard that a lot of people started talking to me, and luckily for me, because they were into the same things that I was drawing, they ended up talking to me more about philosophy, deep stuff, and making sure they weren't steering me on the wrong path. And then next thing you know, I start getting commissions because people really like my art. And this is where I started turning my anger and passion into something that can benefit me. Because I'm not going to lie, during this time, I was still depressed. It was so bad, in fact, I really was starting to think about suicide being an option. Although I don't know how to explain it, the thought of suicide started intertwining with my art. Because when things are truly that bad, you have to think of some kind of dream to attach yourself towards. And I sort of had a giant honorable dying as an artist kind of thought that I still hold with pride today. When I was 8 years old, I had heard about an artist called Vincent van Gogh. He was a super depressed, lonely, troubled artist, as the cliche goes. No one liked his work until he was dead. Ever since I correlated art with a dead man, basically saying, Artists don't become famous or successful until they're dead. But nowadays, I don't mind that. Because now, since the transition from high school to college is one of the most crippling parts of my life, I needed some inner strength to make me stronger. And while what I said holds true, that essentially means that, depending how much art I do, my work and my name will still be remembered by the time that I'm dead. And even if nobody knows that I ever existed, I wouldn't doubt anything that I've done, as long as I used every single day of my existence, drawing what I loved. Being an artist now feels like a journey that only ends if I die. And since I love being an artist, and I love seeing the future works that I create, I want to continue this journey as long as it can. Because it gives me a huge nostalgic feeling every time that I view my old art and see where I'm at currently. And it makes me think about the unknown art that I would create in the future. This helped me not deny death and dance happily towards my grave. And the only death that I'll allow is whenever my life ceases to exist. Definitely not racing towards the finish line. Just enjoying the scenery as things play on. And it's funny, because now with that sort of mentality, when I started my comic, I had no plan for it. I just drew the first page. And then I started drawing more pages, and then I realized the same energy that I put into drawing, I could have been putting into my comics this whole time. And now, it's like my artist journey, but on an entirely different level. In fact, I was so happy to be able to draw a comic, I literally stayed up night and day just drawing more pages. So at that point, I had to put a limit on myself to make sure that I could still be awake during the day, finish homework, and, do other stuff. And then, after that, COVID happened, and I had all the time in the world, of course, to work on my comic, and to stay up nights and nights. But again, had to take control of that. This is when I also started gaining a lot of weight, and of course, as naturally as I explained a lot of times, I would end up fixing my diet. I started with eating less food, then I got a hold of keto, and then I learned that sugar is basically poison for the body, and then you start to learn what foods to eat, when to exercise. There you go. When you're in the process of fixing your body up, losing weight, or gaining muscle, that's what an artist journey feels like. Every step of the way is just as important as the ending goal. If the ending goal is to be compared with death, but that's another story for another day. Of course, I'm still feeling kind of anxious about the future and stuff, but because I now know not to fear the unknown and to actually embrace it, I place it in the hands of my future self. Now, let's move on to my culture. So, I bought Breath of the Wild, and it was fun. This is what energized the idea of going into things without really planning about it. Because the second I boot up the game, I'm not really sure what to expect. But once I'm in the nitty-gritty of it, then that's when I start planning things and figuring things out, learning not to go around these things, but of course coming back stronger. The only downsides I have with the game is that when you beat it, you don't truly beat it, at least story-wise. You're sent right back outside the castle when you've completed the main journey. And I am kind of bummed that you can't play as Zelda. I know that Link is the main protagonist, and that they're basically fixing this problem with the new Hyrule Warriors coming out. But damn it, it's not the same! I want to play as an awesome chick that can kick ass! Is there too much to ask for? The Powerpuff Girls have made me super obsessed with girl power, and in fact is my favorite Cartoon Network show ever. Yes, even better than Steven Universe. And of course I loved My Life as a Teenage Robot, because girl power. And then I got Animal Crossing. If you didn't know now, I am very picky about the video games that I buy. I'm always trying to invest in a game that's worth my time and money. Games that have a simple A to D format just don't work for me as much as they used to. Animal Crossing across the internet was said to be a depression cure. Well, I can't confirm that. I can admit, since the game starts slow and allows things to build as the days follow, it makes it interesting to come every day and see what's new about your island. It gives you something to look forward to, and also is one of the few games where I can play as Higuchi and actually enjoy the sunsets. And then also, Smash Brothers is just a freaking fun game. I always main Sonic in that game, and I'm beating everybody's ass because everybody hates a Sonic player. You know, the whole freaking spin dash. Oh, all he does is spin dash. Well, it's true. I just spin dash, and then I win. It's as simple as that. Why would I pick any other character? Except I do pick another character, because now I pick Zelda. To make up for her non-addition as a playable character in Breath of the Wild, I'm happy to kick everyone's ass as a feminine princess. Then, I guess we can save this for as the main event of the whole My Culture thing, which is Crash 4. It was fun. It's a really good game, and that's all I got to say about it.
Must we keep going around and around like this? Tell me, Crash, is this all there is? Forever?
I mean, after the dinosaur stage, there's a futuristic stage, and then you go back to the past with Neo Cortex, and then, yeah, the game ends. Sorry if that was a spoilers, but, you know, it's a video game, man. The heroes are gonna defeat the villain. It's the story we've heard for 1,000 times. But honestly, if you're looking for a sweet challenge that will get you introduced into video games, Crash 4 seems like the right thing to go towards. But I'm not gonna lie, near the end of the game, it had me pulling my hairs out. This shit was just difficult. This game will kick your ass, and it's been a while since a platformer's kicked my ass. Something about that just didn't sound right. But seriously, I'm glad that Crash 4 was actually a challenge. But now we come to the very last, topic, where I consider a thought of what I believe is a treasure in life. One of the treasures that I think that life has to offer is basically granting you with nothing, so you can eventually find something. Because when a paper is blank, what do you do with it? When a room is empty, what do you do with it? Please, if you relate to this treasure in life, type your personal experience down below in the comments section. Anyways, see you guys later. Mr. Polar Bear Jack signing out. Peace. You don't stop drawing because you get old because you stop drawing, so keep drawing. Anyways, see you guys later.